I'm 26. And a woman who is 4'7" has just told me she will climb me like a tree if necessary. We were standing in the middle of a supermarket. I was holding her phone. She looked up at me with the expression of someone who had already chosen the location of the crime and was now evaluating potential witnesses. "Are you following me?" she asked. "I'm returning your phone." "Good cover?" "I can keep it." "Then I'll have to climb you and take it back." I looked at her, then at myself. I'm 6'8". She was approximately 4'7". The difference between us looked as though a character designer had forgotten to check the scale before the final render. "Will you finish the climb before the store closes?" I asked. She narrowed her eyes. "Don't doubt me." "I don't. I only want to buy water before the expedition begins." For several seconds, she tried to keep a serious expression. Then she laughed. That was the moment I realized I was finished. But everything had started 5 minutes earlier. "My name is Magnus Cole." "Yes?" "My name really is Magnus." "Yes." "I really am over 6.5 feet tall." "No." My parents didn't know how tall I would become. At least, that was what my mother claimed. Though sometimes I suspected they had deliberately named me after someone who was supposed to command barbarians, rule a northern fortress, or at least sell enormous battle axes. I worked as a firefighter. On weekends, I helped at a sports center where I taught basic physical conditioning and made sure people didn't try to prove their immortality on exercise equipment. Most strangers made the same assumptions about me. First, I played basketball. I didn't. Second, I could move furniture easily. But I disliked people treating it as my primary personality trait. Third, I was intimidating. That wasn't true. I was simply accustomed to looking slightly downward, which made my face seem more serious. That day, I came to the supermarket after a shift. I wanted water, eggs, and something that could be prepared without meaningful human involvement. While walking between the aisles, I noticed a woman beside the top shelf. She stood on her toes, reaching for a box of tea. She was at least a foot short. Then she jumped once, then again, looked around, picked up a package of spaghetti, and attempted to use it as an arm extension. I stopped. She noticed my shadow, turned. First she saw my chest, then raised her head higher, then higher again. "Do you ever end?" she asked. "I sometimes wonder the same thing." She pointed at the box. "Can you?" I took down the tea, held it out. "Thank you." "You're welcome." She took it, walked away. I continued shopping. 1 minute later, I saw a phone in the basket she had abandoned. I picked it up, caught up with her near the registers. She turned, then came the conversation about stalking, stealing her phone, and climbing me. We both laughed. Then she held out her hand. "Piper?" "Magnus." She looked at me. Seriously. "Your name is Magnus. And you're 6'8". 6'8.5". That is genetic arrogance. My parents insist they didn't plan it. Parents always say that. We stood beside the registers for several seconds. I waited. So did she. But neither of us asked for the other's number. Piper looked away first. "Thanks for the phone." "Human shelf." "You're welcome." "Spaghetti woman." She stuck out her tongue and left. I watched her go. Tiny. Dark hair in a high ponytail. Green jacket. Quick steps. She disappeared into the crowd. I thought, big city. I'll never see her again. 4 days later, she came to the sports center. I stood behind the front desk, checking the schedule. Then I heard a familiar voice. "I need Studio 3. I looked up. Piper stood in front of me holding a small box. Today she wore jeans, a cropped leather jacket, and thick-soled boots that added perhaps an entire inch to her height. She recognized me. Human shelf. Spaghetti woman. I didn't use them. Shame. It would have been impressive. She placed the box on the counter. I'm delivering an order to a client. She teaches yoga here. What kind of order? Piper opened the lid. Inside was a silver necklace with small green stones. You make jewelry. Yes. It's beautiful. She raised an eyebrow. That's all. What else? Usually men say something like, I didn't expect such a little woman to make serious things. I frowned. Why would a person's size affect the size of their work? Piper became silent, then slowly smiled. Good answer. I didn't know it was a test. Everything is a test. Exhausting. You're passing so far. I pointed down the hallway. Third room on the right. She took several steps, then stopped. Returned. Are you going to ask me out or keep pretending you aren't staring? I blinked. Would you say yes? I haven't decided. Very encouraging. But I'm curious whether we can fit at the same table. I looked down. She looked up. Friday, I asked. 7. Cafe on River Street. Fine. She entered her number. Don't be late. Why? It's difficult for me to look lonely for long. People start offering assistance. I smiled. See you Friday. See you Friday. Tower. On Friday. I arrived early, got a table, asked them to remove the tall bar stool and bring a regular chair. Piper arrived exactly at 7. She wore a dark blue dress and a cropped jacket. No heels. I stood. She looked at me. Did you get taller? No. Then why does the ceiling look lower? Optical panic. We approached the counter. The barista looked at me. Then at Piper. What would the little girl like? Silence. Ich will Piper tinse. She turned toward the counter. The little girl would like a double espresso and a little respect. The barista turned red. I'm sorry. I didn't. I looked at him. She can order for herself. Piper gave me a quick glance. Not grateful. More evaluative. The barista apologized. We took our drinks. Sat down. Piper sipped the espresso. You didn't laugh. At what? Usually men think that's funny. A stranger talking to you, like you're a child. Yes? I don't see the joke. She studied me for several seconds. Then said, You had a strong first round. Are we in a tournament? Possibly. We started talking about her work. About mine? Piper made jewelry from home. She had started with small commissions. Then opened an online shop. She worked with silver, enamel, and stones. I told her about the fire station. She asked, Did they hire you because of your height? Yes. The chief said, Finally. Someone who can reach the top window without a ladder? Really? No. She rolled her eyes. Don't joke with that face. Why? It's impossible to tell. Convenient for crimes and board games. Piper talked about her height. 4'7". Not a disease. Not a problem. Just genetics. Her mother was short. Her grandmother too. People still think they have a right to ask. She said, About your height? About my medical history? My age? Whether I can drive? Where I buy clothes? Can you drive? She looked at me coldly. I raised my hands. Joke. Bad one. Understood. And I buy clothes in regular stores. Then alter them. You alter everything. Sleeves. Length. Waist. That sounds exhausting. Sometimes. She turned her cup. Do people ask you about basketball? Every day. Do you play? No. Shame. Such useful free equipment. Equipment. I could sit on your shoulder and shout instructions. That sounds more like a pirate. Even better. The date lasted 3 hours. Neither of us noticed. At the end, we left. I walked her home. A small brick building. 3 steps. Piper stopped near the door. So did I? A pause followed. She looked up. I looked down. Are you going to do something? She asked. I'm calculating a safe angle. Just bend down. I bent. Too far. She narrowed her eyes. Now you look like a giraffe drinking water. Extremely helpful. Piper stepped onto the first stair. Still significantly shorter. Then the second. Our faces moved closer. Better. She said. A little. There was a stone railing nearby. Roughly waist height for me. I pointed toward it. My eye. She understood. Lift me. Yes. You ask first. Always. Piper smiled. You may. I carefully placed my hands around her waist. Lifted her. Sat her on the edge of the railing. Now our faces were almost level. She looked around. Finally. A normal height. For whom? Me? You're still suspicious. I placed my hands on either side of her. Didn't touch. Can I kiss you? You can. The kiss was gentle. Piper placed both hands around my neck. Pulled me closer. The second kiss lasted longer. When we separated, she said, The logistics are manageable. Glad I passed the test. You're still on probation. For how long? Unknown. She kissed me again. We started dating. The height difference became an endless source of situations. In crowds, I could always see everything except her. Once I lost her at a festival. I called. Where are you? Beside you. I don't see you. Look down. I lowered my gaze. Piper stood directly in front of me. Arms folded. Sorry. One day. I'm tying a balloon to myself. I'll buy the brightest one. That wasn't an invitation. Too late? In my apartment. The upper cabinets began approximately where her reach ended. One day, I entered the kitchen. Piper stood on the countertop holding a mug. What are you doing? Gathering resources? You could have called me. I survived before you. I know. Then don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you're about to rescue a cat from a tree. I approached. May I help you down? No. Okay. Piper looked down. The height suddenly seemed less convenient, although. Yes. You can stand nearby. Does that count as help? Safety architecture. She jumped. I caught her. Placed her on the floor. Don't get used to that. She said, You jumped into my arms. I trusted the calculations. I installed several additional low shelves. Piper saw them. Frowned. You changed the kitchen. Added shelves. I didn't ask. I know. Because you think I can't manage. Because I don't want to keep finding you on the countertop, holding a knife. One time. Twice. The second knife was dull. We argued. I realized I had made a mistake. I had changed something without asking. Even with good intentions, I can remove them. I said. Piper looked at the shelves. They're useful, but ask first. Okay. Leave them. Understood. She approached, hugged me. Her face was roughly level with my chest. I put my arms around her back. Very carefully, too carefully, Piper noticed. Are you hugging me or transporting fragile porcelain? Normally. No. She took my hands, pulled them tighter around herself. Like this. I don't want to hurt you. I'll tell you if it hurts. You're small, and you're large. I don't treat you like a stupid cabinet. You sometimes call me a cabinet. Een intelligent cabinet. I laughed. She looked up. Magnus. I'm small. I'm not fragile. I know. No. You understand it intellectually. Your hands are still afraid. I don't want to make a mistake. Then listen. Don't decide for me. The sentence stayed with me. She met my coworkers for the first time 1 month later. We went to a barbecue outside the fire station. Everyone knew I had a girlfriend. No one knew how tiny she was. When Piper stepped out of the car, My friend Ethan looked at her, then said, "Damn, Magnus, you could have warned us." Piper approached. About what? Ethan became confused. About the height? Yours. No. Then I don't see why. I turned away to hide my smile. Everyone liked Piper quickly. She wasn't intimidated. She joked, helped arrange food, argued with the chief about why handmade jewelry cost more than factory pieces. A guy named Cody asked, "Does Magnus carry you in his pocket?" Piper opened her mouth. I answered first, "Apologize." My tone became hard. "So de froze?" I was joking. "Apologize." He looked at Piper. "Sorry." She nodded. The evening continued. But on the drive home, she was quiet. "What's wrong?" I asked. "You spoke for me." "He insulted you." I could have answered, "I wanted to protect you." I didn't ask. So, I should have stayed silent. You should have let me decide first. I tightened my hands around the steering wheel. I don't like people humiliating you. Neither do I. But when you automatically step in for me, you do the same thing everyone else does. I don't understand. They think I'm weak. You think I can't handle responding. I don't think that. Then why didn't you let me speak? I remained silent. She was right. I'm sorry. Piper looked at me. That was fast. Because it's true. Most people argue. Sometimes I'm trainable. Rare species. I smiled. Next time I'll look at you first. If I need help, I'll tell you. Okay. Several dates later, Piper stayed at my place. Not accidentally. Not because it became late. She brought a bag, placed it beside the bed. "What's that?" I asked. "Spare clothes." "So? You're planning to stay?" "Possibly." "Very specific." She approached, placed both hands on my chest. "Magnus?" "Yes. I want you." Directly. Without hints. I was nervous. Not because I lacked desire. There was more than enough of that. Because of the size difference, I was afraid of hurting her. Piper noticed. "Are you calculating angles?" "A little." "Don't worry. We're adults. We'll solve the logistics." "You sound confident." "Someone has to." I asked. "Are you sure?" "Yes." "You can stop at any time." "So can you?" "I have protection." I checked. "You checked. I saw the box in the nightstand." "You conducted an inspection." "Everything is a test." We started kissing. I moved slowly. Too slowly. Piper stopped me. "You're treating me like glass again." "I'm trying to be careful." "Care is good. Fear gets in the way." She took my hand, showed me what she wanted. I listened, asked. She answered. Our first night was tender. Passionate. Sometimes funny. The size difference really did require some logistical adjustment, but Piper was right. 2 adults figured it out without rushing. With protection. With clear mutual desire. Afterward, she lay on my chest, almost entirely fitting there. She ran one hand over my shoulder. "You could rent out space up here?" "Comfortable." "Yes. But the heartbeat makes it difficult to sleep." "I can stop it." She lifted her head. "Terrible joke." "Sorry. Never make that joke." "Understood." Piper settled again. 1 minute later, she said, "You were a good listener." "Is that a compliment?" "A very large one." "I accept." She fell asleep. I remained still, afraid to move. In the morning, my entire body felt numb. Piper woke. "Why didn't you turn over?" "You were sleeping." "Magnus." "What?" "I won't disappear if you move." "I know." She narrowed her eyes. Understanding it intellectually again. "I'm working on it." She kissed my chin. Couldn't reach my lips. Bend down. I did. Good giant. Don't call me that in public. I absolutely will. Our relationship became more serious. She left a toothbrush. I met her friends. They immediately warned me, don't lift her without permission. I already know. Don't call her little girl. I don't order for here. She would kill me. Piper nodded. Trainable. I helped at craft fairs. Not because she couldn't, because the display stands were heavy. She helped me choose gifts. Not because I lacked taste. Though, according to her, that was exactly why we balanced each other, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. My mistake was overprotectiveness. Hers was turning my height and strength into a public joke. It happened at a charity event. The fire department was raising money for a children's center. We had to move tables, boxes, and equipment every 5 minutes. Someone said, Magnus, grab that, Magnus, lift this, Magnus, move those. I agreed. I was used to it. Piper stood beside the organizers. One woman said, How useful to have a man like that. Piper smiled. That's why I keep him around. Everyone laughed. So did I. Out of a bit, but something unpleasant tightened inside me. That evening, she noticed my silence. What happened? Nothing. Don't Lee. I looked at her. The comment about why you keep me around. Piper froze. It was a joke. I know. You laughed. I didn't want to ruin the moment. Did it hurt you? A little. She sat down. Why? Because people have treated my size as my main value my entire life. I can carry things, reach things, block the wind, stand there like security. That wasn't what I meant. I know, but it sounded that way. Piper remained silent. I continued, You want people to see more than your height? I want the same. She looked away. I did exactly what I hate. Yes. Them. Yes. I'm sorry. Accepted. She looked at me. That was fast. Because it's true. Don't steal my lines. Everything is a test. She snorted, but the conflict wasn't completely resolved. We both began noticing how many old habits we carried into the relationship. I offered help too quickly. She joked about my strength when I was nervous. We tried. Then came a worse argument. Piper was participating in a major design fair. She spent weeks preparing the collection. I helped assemble the booth. One day before opening, I noticed the upper structure had been installed badly. I silently rebuilt it. Piper arrived. She saw it. You changed everything. It wasn't safe. Why didn't you call me? You were busy. It's my booth. It could have fallen. Then you should have told me. I solved the problem. Exactly. She became angry. You constantly decide for me. It was a safety issue. And you automatically assumed you knew better. In this case, I did. Even if you did, you should have asked. Piper, the structure could have injured someone. That isn't the point. Then what is? You don't trust me to be an adult. That was unfair. I lost my temper. And you don't trust me to help without accusing me of looking down on you. She froze. Very elegant phrasing. You know what I mean. Yes? I understand that you're tired. I'm tired of being afraid I'll do something wrong. Then don't do anything without asking. It's impossible to ask every second. You could stop deciding for me every second. We separated, took a break. Not an official breakup, but close. We didn't see each other for a week. The apartment became too quiet. The low shelves looked empty. Her blanket remained on the couch. I found a small hair tie, held it in my enormous palm. Felt like an idiot. Piper missed me. She admitted it later. But at the time, she didn't text. I didn't want to pressure her. The fair opened on Saturday. I wasn't planning to attend. Piper hadn't invited me after the argument. But one of the organizers called. The booth is shaking. I came. I didn't rush in. Didn't start repairing anything. I stood in front of the structure. Piper saw me. Her face became cold. What are you doing here? They called me. And now you'll fix everything. I looked at the booth. Then at here. Do you need help? A pause? She noticed the question. A real one. Not a formality. Yes. Piper said, I do. What should I do? She showed me. Hold this section. I'll reposition the bracket. I held it. She directed me. We worked together. I wasn't rescuing her. She wasn't proving she could do everything alone. A team. The booth became stable. Piper checked it. Done. Good. I was about to leave. She caught my sleeve. Wait. I stopped. I'm sorry. She said, for the event? For the jokes? For sometimes using you as a ladder, bodyguard, or piece of furniture. Furniture, a very high-quality cabinet. Thank you. I'm serious. I know. I don't want you to feel like a tool, and I don't want you to feel like a child who needs rescuing. She looked up. Sometimes I do need help. Sometimes I enjoy helping. Then ask, and you answer honestly. Agreed. I nodded. Good. Fair? That's all. What else? We haven't spoken for a week. You asked for space. And you gave it. Yes. It's incredibly irritating when you behave correctly. I smiled. Do you want me to behave incorrectly? She stepped closer. I want you to bend down. I did. She wrapped her arms around my neck. Kissed me. People passed. Looked. We didn't care. After the kiss, Piper said, I love you. I froze. That's the first time. Don't make me repeat it. I love you. Too. Good. Very romantic response. I'm small. I can serve words. 2 years later, we lived together. The house had to be adapted. But not only for her, we had shelves at 2 levels. Low ones for Piper. High ones for me. Shared ones in the middle. She installed a low hook near the door. I installed a high one. There were mirrors at 2 heights in the bathroom. A folding step stool stood in the kitchen. Piper called it the device protecting your ego. I answered, you chose it so I don't have to ask every time. Reasonable. But sometimes she still asked. One day, I was working at the table. She called, Magnus? What? Get the box. I entered the kitchen. The box sat on the middle shelf. Piper could easily reach it. You can get it yourself. I can. Then why did you call me? Otherwise, what is the point of having a 6'8" boyfriend? I looked at her. We discussed using me as a tool. This is a voluntary program. Very convenient. She raised her arms. Lift me. Do I have permission? Yes. I placed my hands around her waist. Lifted her. She took a box from the top shelf. Even though she could have taken the one below it, there. She said, teamwork. You only wanted me to lift you. Possibly. I held her. Should I put you down? No. Why? Comfortable. She opened the box. Cookies inside. Took one. Held it out. Transportation fee. I took a bite. Fair. Sometimes strangers stared. Some asked, does the height difference bother you? Piper usually answered, what difference? I said, her personality is taller than mine. She kicked my shin. Ons. A child in the park looked at us. Asked his mother, why is he so big and she's so small? Piper bent toward the child. Because the world needs different sizes. I smiled. Later? I said, Good answer. I've rehearsed it my whole life. I stopped trying to protect her from every stare. She decided when to respond. If she needed help, she looked at me. Sometimes nodded. Then I stepped in. If not, I stayed quiet. Piper also stopped treating me like a personal crane without permission. Almost. Sometimes at events. She introduced me. This is Magnus. My boyfriend. Yes? He's tall. No. He doesn't play basketball. Yes? He can reach the box? Ask first. I replied. This is Piper. My girlfriend. Yes. She's short. No. She isn't a child. Yes. She can answer for herself. Be careful. Why careful? Someone would ask. She bites. I said. Piper smiled. Only tall people. Ons? People saw only the numbers 4'7", 6'8", more than 2 feet of difference. But relationships weren't built from inches. They were built from questions. Do you need help? May I lift you? Do you want protection? Or do you want to answer yourself? Is everything okay? And from trusting the answers, Piper never needed a giant to rescue her from the world. I never needed a small woman beside me to feel bigger. She was already strong. I was already gentler than I looked. We needed someone who could see everything beyond the height. One evening, Piper stood on the couch. Our faces were almost level. She wrapped her arms around my neck. Do you know what I like most? That I can reach the top shelves? Second place. Then what's first? You never asked me to become more convenient. I looked at her. Neither did you. Sometimes I ask you to bend down. That is a technical necessity. Correct. She kissed me, then jumped off the couch. I extended my arms from habit, but I didn't catch her immediately. I asked, Need help? Piper smiled. No. I can do it. She jumped, landed confidently, then took my hand. Now you can help. With what? Getting ice cream. It's on the bottom freezer shelf. I know. Then why? She pulled me toward the kitchen. Because I love teamwork. And I followed, not because she needed me, because she asked.